Locked In Sessions presents Rock Rhythm. Please welcome Martin Motnik and Peter Dallas.
All right. Welcome, everybody. How y'all doing? All right, yeah. We would like to thank Guitar Center for having us here and all of you for coming out. We really appreciate it. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Peter Dallas. I've been playing drums professionally for 32 years. I performed on numerous national and international tours, and I teach and do sessions in Las Vegas and LA. I'm hired through my website, peterdallas.com, and today I'm going to share some of the basics of solid rock drumming with you. I'd like to stress the word solid. In rock ensemble playing, your groove in your pocket as a drummer is the most important thing. Chops, fills, things like that, that's the icing on the cake. Martin?
Yeah, my name is Martin Motnik. I'm originally from Germany. That's where my accent is from. I've been playing bass since 1985. I've played in several bands in Germany, and I've toured Europe extensively. And I moved to the US in 2008, first to LA, and now I'm in the Vegas area since about 3 years. I've played 3 North American tours with Uli John Roth from the Scorpions. I have my own recording studio where I do recordings over the internet through my website, studiobasis.com. And of course I play Rock of Ages here in town with Dallas, and we've done around 100 shows last year.
All right. I'd like to touch on our relationship as bass player and drummer. Martin and I have known each other for about 2 years. We played together in a number of musical situations, and when you meet someone that you jive with musically and personally, you've really got something, especially with bass and drums. It can be really cool. Getting to know each other, our playing becomes effortless. As a unit, we enhance the sound and energy of the groups that we work with. Martin?
Yeah, speaking about relationship, first let me ask you questions. How many bass players do we have here tonight? How many drummers? Pretty cool. What we would like to discuss is the relationship between bass and drums and the importance of a solid rhythm section for a band. Like we all know the singer and the guitar player, they're in the spotlight, they get all the chicks, but without a solid rhythm section, the whole band falls apart. So what we will do tonight here is we will analyze and play a variety of famous rock songs that most of you probably know, to demonstrate different ways how drums and bass can play together, and we will give you some hands-on tips and tricks on how to become a better rhythm section. All right, let's get started.
All right. This first track we're going to play for you is Hot for Teacher by Van Halen. Alex Van Halen, the drummer for Van Halen, used Simmons drums for these recording tracks. Simmons are an electronic pad that was the electronic kit in the 80s, and they're rather a hard surface, so he was cranking out some really amazing double bass stuff, especially in the beginning of the song. On a regular drum kit, you have give with the heads, and it tends to be a little bit different than with electronics. With electronics, I find that I can really whiz around and do some amazing chops with it, so he's cooking. For example, his playing, on each section, he's doing it a little bit different than the last, and that's the beauty of he and Eddie Van Halen's relationship. He's playing off the guitar. They're giving back and forth energy. That brings to mind something that is interesting regarding my playing. From the beginning, I have played off guitar and also vocal lines. Now, some rock drummers do, some don't. My idols, Keith Moon, John Bonham, Tommy Lee. If you listen to these groups, if you listen to Motley Crue and The Who and Zepp, oftentimes you're hearing the drums will be playing off the vocal line or guitar line, the melody of the line of the song. They will actually change with the changes and accent the figures that the guitar, the lead vocal, is doing. A lot of tracks, the drum just goes straight across the bottom and then the track moves along. So that's an interesting point. So Eddie and Alex, they don't play any section the same twice. These guys jam. That's what they do, especially on this song. This song is basically a confused mass with the bass going on one side, guitar on the other. They're going over the bar. They're not doing anything really in mathematical conjunction regarding the measures in the song, and yet the drums are going down the middle, and then it makes this amazing sound, and that's the secret to Van Halen. And believe it or not, the vocal line on that song is the straightest part of that song. The rest of it is all whoa everywhere. So my objective is to keep this song simple and solid, so that the band that I'm playing with remains tight. They know where the ins and outs of the sections are on a big stage, which is the kind of work that I do most of the time. When people are 30 feet away, they know what's going on, how to get in and out of a section. And also Martin can play solid and know with confidence where he's going with the song. So I'm keeping it simple and solid while staying with the spirit of Alex Van Halen in the recorded version. Note I'm doing a triplet intro, which is very simple, okay? And Alex is doing this radical stuff that's, you know, not simple. So my triplet intro is very simple. It's easy to follow, and it gets everybody in and out. Makes the song sound great, and it's simple, something that any of you can do. You can master that lick at home. It's something I learned in the very beginning of my career. Martin, your take on this?
Yeah, bass-wise, this song is a perfect example for the most common bass groove in rock music, which is the 8th note bass groove. It's used in the majority of rock songs because it creates a driving feeling and goes well with pretty much any drum groove. So it's very simple to play, it's very effective, and can be played with fingerstyle or with a pick. Now Van Halen's bass player Michael Anthony, or now he's in a band called Chickenfoot, he is known for producing simple but effective bass grooves. They deliver a strong foundation for a band, for the song, and leave a lot of room for the guitars and the vocals to play off of the rhythm section. Now on the record of Hot for Teacher, Michael actually recorded 2 bass tracks at the same time to make the sound fatter. He basically just recorded 2 tracks, pretty much the same twice. On the verse and on the chorus, I'm able to emulate that by playing 2 strings. So there's a little bass playing trick there. It runs pretty much on the A, and so I play the open A string, and I play the A on the 5th fret of the E string at the same time. So I get like this. So notice how it gets much fatter and fuller. This is how I play that live to emulate the record. And other than that, my main objective, like most of the time when you play 8th note, is to stay absolutely tight and locked in with the drums. All right, here we go.
Let's rock it. was fun, eh? Well, in recap of what I did on the drums, notice on the guitar solo, on the first half, I'm keeping it straight. Then there are the 9 hits in the middle. They're figures. And after the 9 figures that are played in the middle, I'm doing accents every 4 measures. Now, on the record, Alex does not do these. He's going over the bar, and it's a little bit confusing sounding. So I'm doing that to keep it straight, so that way Martin can lock in, know mathematically what's happening on the section, and know when he's going to get out. Also, those accents allow him to slam them with me, and it makes for a really nice, bit of color in the latter half of that guitar solo. Also, the other guys, the guitar player can lock onto this too and know what's going on. I'm basically keeping it solid with consistent time and keeping it tight. That's how I played the songs. Now, I have a quick question for you all. This is referring back to something I already said, so pay attention today. Does anybody remember what type of drums Alex used for the recording? Montana. You got it, girl. All right.
Woohoo!
Here's a t-shirt for you. We'll be doing that throughout the clinic, so pay attention. Okay, Martin, your take on your recap here?
As Dallas has pointed out, sometimes you have to slightly modify parts of the song or song without losing its essence to make it work and to make it really easy. You can play along with that. And because in a professional situation, it happens very often that you jump in on a gig without much of a rehearsal or without a rehearsal at all. That's when it comes in handy if you play a song and you can play with the original energy without getting lost in complicated parts of the song. So this is what we just did. So even though we played this last song as close to the original as possible, we played it in a way that was more straightforward. So if we would have had a guest guitarist sit in, so somebody who knows the song, who knows the original, but never rehearsed with us before, the odds were very good that he or she would have been able to play along almost perfectly because of the structured playing of the rhythm section. Yeah, so that's about this song, so let's move on to the next one.
All right. This next song we're going to do for you is Crazy Train, one of my favorites to play on drums. It was the first single off Ozzy's first solo record, right after he left Black Sabbath. It's considered his signature song. This record came out in 1981, and the song was co-written by Ozzy and the great Randy Rhoads, one of the all-time great metal and rock guitar players in history. Now, Randy died tragically during the tour to support this record. He and some of the road crew rented a small light aircraft, and they were buzzing the bus while the bus was in a rural area and having fun, and they crashed in a field near the bus, and he was killed. But Randy did leave an amazing legacy with the music that he wrote and performed with Ozzy. This original recording was done by Randy Castillo on drums, one of my favorites, and Randy has some swing to his playing. This brings up an interesting point. The drummers in the 70s and the early 80s had some swing to their playing. They were influenced by their teachers when they were young, who taught them rudiments and things from a swinging jazz viewpoint of the 50s and 60s that were influencing people. If these drummers didn't take lessons and were self-taught, they still were influenced by the music of the day, which had swing to it. Now, a great example of one swinging mofo of a drummer is Mitch Mitchell, who played with Jimi Hendrix. Now, Mitch Mitchell performs a tour de force on the recording of Fire by Hendrix, and this guy had swing and chops and everything and was really slamming, as well as a lot of other drummers back then. So now when I came up in the 80s. In the 80s, things were much more, the songs that I was called upon to learn and to perform were much more click track oriented, more straight. So I'm attacking this song from a more of a straight viewpoint, which keeps the band tight as well. Similar to Tommy Kloufetos, a fellow Greek, who is the drummer for Ozzy now. He's been with Ozzy for about 8 years. Phenomenal drummer, Tommy. And so I'm keeping it 4 on the floor, which is a kick on all 4 quarter notes, snare slamming on 2 and 4, solid fills with the kick going on the quarter note through the fills. So notice when I'm filling, the kick is powering it through with the quarter notes. This is allowing Martin to lock on.
Yeah, 4 on the floor is actually the key word of this song. So while the previous song, Hard for Teacher, was propelled by an 8th note bass pattern, this song has a different pattern that helps the song move forward, and that's the quarter note bass pattern. So that's actually, in the verse of Crazy Train, the bass plays quarter notes along with the bass drum. So the bass drum plays that 4 on the floor. It's a very popular groove, not only in rock, but also in pop, and especially in the electronic dance music. It makes people move and dance, which is something that you can see when you go into any nightclub. You have that 4 on the floor feel, and that's what propels most of those songs, and especially this one, in the verse, that is. In the chorus, it changes. In the chorus, the bass drum pattern changes, but again, the bass keeps following the bass drum. Now, this is a very important thing, as Dallas already had hinted. If you don't know what to play, when you're a bass player in a band and you don't know what to play, listen to the bass drum and follow the bass drum. For me, it is actually the most important piece of a drum kit, and I listen closely to the bass drum and try to follow it as good as possible. So sometimes when I stand close to a drummer, I also glance over, which is usually more able when you rehearse than really in a live situation. But when we rehearse, I try to stand a little bit further back, and I try to glance over actually at his foot, try to anticipate what he's doing with his foot so that I can really lock in with the bass drum. And that especially helps when I play with somebody, for instance, that I haven't played before yet. Dallas and I know each other. You start to learn, you get to know each other, how to play, but especially when you start out playing with somebody new, that helps a lot. Just keep an eye, so keep eye contact and ear contact. So that's it. Following the bass drum creates that tight groove and is essential for a solid rhythm section. All right, enough said. Let's play.
Thank you. Well, in recap, I'm keeping it 4 on the floor and solid. You notice when I did my fills, I kept that kick going on all 4 quarter notes. Simple double bass fills. I'm doing no triplets or anything, and they're all straight ahead. Keeps the band tight, makes the band sound really great out there in the mix. Simple. Notice that I'm doing a quarter note ride pattern. And that allows me for a slamming 2 and 4 It makes that snare really drop heavy on the 2 and 4, and the rock bands really like that. They like that snare to be very prominent. So that's what I'm doing. Now, Martin, you have a really interesting take on this song. Would you share it with us?
That's especially that I do when I play in three-piece situations, meaning guitar, bass, and drums. When it comes to the solo, the guitar solo, I switch to a pick, and I start playing chords during the guitar solo, so I basically become the rhythm guitarist. And the reason why I do this is that makes sure that the sound stays big and fat when the guitar stops playing rhythm and goes into the solo. I just did that. I tried to show it real quick. Usually I also turn on the distortion, but this song already has distortion all through the song, so I just stay there. I actually do this a lot in rock songs. Let's say when we play like Highway to Hell, and so I play the root note the whole time, then the guitar goes into the guitar solo, and so I start playing this. So that works really good live. It makes it really fat. And the reason why I switched to a pick is because I found it easier to play chords on the bass with a pick than with my fingers. And in order to switch back and forth between guitar pick and finger style, I came up with my own little method here, which is, I call him Martin Motnik's quick pick. And basically what it is, it's a simple guitar pick, and I have a little dot of Velcro here on the back. So here on the bass, I've got the fluffy part. And this is the rough part of the pick, of the Velcro, so I put it here. So when I need it, I just grab up here, and I can. And then when I'm done, I'll just put it back up here. So that's really cool. And that Velcro also helps me not to drop the pick when my hands are sweaty, so it gives me better grip. So that's something that helps a lot in like small band situations where you still want to create a fat sound. Now I have a question. One more time, just to emphasize that, who could tell me what piece of the drum kit is the most important one to listen to as a bass player?
Bass drum.
That's correct.
All right.
Here's a pack of Martin Motnik's quick picks for you. There you go. All right, back to you, Dallas.
Cool. Well, this next song we're going to do is Pinball Wizard by one of my all-time favorite bands, The Who. Keith Moon is the reason why I picked up a drumstick, so it's kind of sentimental to me doing this song. These guys have an amazing musical triangle going between Keith and John and Pete, with Roger on top with the vocals. They have a synergy that's unbelievable when you listen to their music and see their video footage of their concerts. On this great Who classic, Keith is keeping it solid. He's keeping a solid beat, and he's looping around the pulse with fills that drop cymbal accents with bass accompaniment. And the snare is behind the hits. Now, this is kind of a unique drumming style that Keith incorporates. It brings the drums to the forefront of the mix. Lead drums, if you will. Another drummer that plays this way is Tommy Lee, and of course Bonham. These guys are my idols. And so when I play this tune, I try to stay true to Keith's killer attitude and style, keeping it solid as usual. That's about it for me. The current drummer for The Who, pay attention, is none other than Zach Starkey, who is Ringo Starr's son. And Ringo is one of my all-time favorites, an amazing drummer, what he did with the Beatles, a highly underrated drummer. He played the songs, and he played them very well, and he did signature fills that became the industry standard with all the LA session guys through the 70s. You can hear it in all kinds of music. You can hear Ringo fills everywhere. And Zach is amazing. These guys both have an amazing spirit, and they're great. And Zach's one of my favorites. Martin, your take on this track?
Well, yeah, speaking of influences and heroes, John Entwistle, the bass player of The Who, was definitely one of my major influences on my playing. And Pinball Wizard is a great song to show how a bass line can be melodic and driving at the same time. It also shows the connection between bass and drums, and how the bass can play off the drums. The looping rhythm that Dallas was talking about is being doubled by the bass with a melodic bass line. It contains root, octave, fourth, and fifth. I'm going to point that out when we get into that so that you really know what I'm talking about. And John Entwistle played a very important part in keeping the time in the band. His playing contained a lot of percussive ghost notes. He was up here a lot on his fretboard. And that helped maintain the tempo and the groove of the song. And that again gave Keith Moon on the drums a lot of room to play very melodic. Now, how is my take on this song? John Entwistle is one of my heroes, as I said. He's a big influence on my playing, and so to pay him respect, I'm trying to play the song very accurately, like the original song. This is how I do this. All right, you ready?
Cool. Ready.
Okay.
It was since I was a young boy, I played the Civil War. I'm so out of writer, I must have played them all. But I can see nothing like him in any amusement hall. That kid doesn't like it, so please don't eat me. It's not a snatcher, that's loyal to the shade. Feeling all the butlers, always busy bees.
So, in recap of what I did, I've simplified my figures, lock in the pocket while staying true to Keith's reckless abandon, and his signature style. Now, one thing I'd like to note is that I tend to play with my arms very high. I come down to on things very high. The reason I'm doing this is because when you're playing on big stages and guys are 30 feet away, their peripheral vision, when they're on the guitar or bass, they'll see you coming down as a drummer. And then the band looks tight, even though the band may not have ever rehearsed. And a lot of the gigs I do, there's no rehearsal. And you're out there. And my job as a drummer is to make it solid for the band, make it easy for them to play and enjoy themselves and know where everything is. So that's why I'm coming down hard, very confident, and my arms are very high coming down on things. So having said that, I got a question. Were you paying attention? All right, does anybody know who the current drummer for The Who is? Ah, Montana. Wow, that is cool. Who? You got it, girl. This is one of my best students. She's going to be a rock star someday. That's Montana, everybody. Say hi to Montana. All right. How would you like a hat? You can adjust this. You're going to have to grow into that shirt. Sorry about that. Would you like a hat? A head, drumsticks. There you go.
Right now it's still, right now it's still a dress.
Cool. So, Martin, your take?
You could hear how a bass line can have a driving feel even though it's melodic. So that was a specialty for John Entwistle. So instead of pedaling along on one note as I did on the first two songs, so like on Hard for Teacher on the 8th note pattern and on the quarter note on Crazy Train, this is way more melodic and still it keeps propelling. And I think it kind of resembles the rock and roll bass playing style of the 50s and 60s. So very melodic, very groovy, and I think that's what influenced John Entwistle when he came up with the groove. Actually, I'm not even sure who came up with the groove first, if it was John or Keith. However, what happened is they ended up syncing perfectly, so and that's great, and which again shows the importance of a locked-in rhythm section. How you have to play together and make this really work. Maybe if you paid attention, you heard how again the bass and the bass drum were playing the same beats. It's just something that's absolutely crucial. Before we play the next song, let's talk a moment about our gear. So Dallas, what gear are you using these days?
Let me start by saying that I only play gear that I love. These companies have the best products and service in the industry, and they're all available here at Guitar Center. I use DW Collector Series drums. This is a Guitar Center set. I have a new set coming in a few days from DW that's in white ice. A nice piano lacquer finish, really cool. I play DW 9000 foot pedals and hardware. I'd like to talk snares for a moment here. Now, with drummers, your snare is your sound. That's your signature. Wherever I go, if there's a backline drum kit, which is not my own, something I already set up, I always bring my own snare. As with guitar players, guitar is their signature sound, and bass players, their bass. So these are custom snares that I have made for me. I have 2 of them, and I love them. They're 8 by 14, 8 inches deep by 14 inches around. And notice here there's a brass strip, then maple, and then brass, okay? So that allows me, I can crank these up and get a slamming rim shot, or I can tune them nice and low and deep for rock. For rock playing, I like a deep snare, and so do the bands I play with. So, DW snares, awesome. So my sticks are Vader. I play a Peter Dallas Signature 5A. Would you like a pair? There you go. All right. And they have great wood tone and a nice slam and rim shot with the wood. They get a great snap. My cymbals are Paiste. I use Paiste PST8s. This set here I use at home in my studio and for teaching. Now live, I use these, Paiste Alphas. All right, these are brilliant finish, and they're really a durable cymbal. They sound great. After months of fierce rock drumming on Fremont Street, my Paiste Alphas have held up fantastically, and I love them. And I use a head gloves. These are important when it's cold out, or even when it's hot out and your hands get sore. You put these gloves on, and once again, you're getting more traction. You're feeling better. With the drum kit, a little more confidence when you're playing. And when you do big gigs, sometimes it's strenuous. The lights, it's 130, 140 degrees up there with these lights nailing you. So what I try to do is have everything in my power to have an edge as a drummer. I eat right, I take my vitamins, and I exercise. And I also use a head armor cases, which are phenomenal. Here's the head armor cymbal case. These are fantastic cases. Last but not least, I use a head stick bags. I've got one right here. They're the best stick bag on the market. And this brings up an interesting point. I put my stick bag on my snare drum, which most drummers put their stick bag on the floor tom. In the early 90s, I took lessons from James Kotak, who was the drummer for the Scorpions. He's been with them for a number of years now. And James had his stick bag on his snare. And what happens in rock drumming oftentimes is, you know, your sailing sticks out to the audience off the cymbals, the weight changes on the stick, and when that happens, I just toss them. I just chuck them. And people like that, and it looks cool, and sticks are flying everywhere. And while it's up in the air, I've already got one. And I can pick one up with the left hand or the right hand, like really fast. So that's kind of an interesting point. So I keep my stick bag on my snare. Martin, what are you using these days?
Well, my bass is a custom instrument, so it's built by Jens Ritter in Germany. It's handmade. It's beautiful. It's a great sounding instrument. I really love it a lot, and it's very, very versatile. Now, when it comes to amps and cabinets, I play Gallien-Krueger. GK amps have a great and very flexible sound, and they're suitable for pretty much any musical style. They just came out with those great MB combos, and I'm playing the MB210 here right now, which is fantastic. They're really light. They have digital amps built in, so it makes them really light, but they're very, very powerful. And this one's really, it's got the neodymium speakers. They're really, as I said, light. You pick them up like that, but they're very, very loud. I don't even have it at, I think a quarter turned up or so. It's really amazing. A good thing also is you can expand them. You can buy active or passive cabinets, so you can daisy chain them, and so let's say you have a combo for a small gig, and then you bring your combo with an additional speaker cabinet to a big gig, and you're ready to go. It's loud enough, so it's really cool. So the Guitar Center has them, so if you're in the market for a bass amp or bass combo, you should definitely check them out. Does anybody of you already play GK? Not yet. Does somebody want to? Well, I got a couple of really cool GK caps here, so I'm just gonna toss them out. There you go. As you probably noticed, I love using effects. I think effects can enhance your playing a lot and make your sound much more interesting. However, make sure that you always use them to support the song and never overdo them. My main effects unit is a Line 6 Bass Pod XT Pro, mostly because it's very easy to set up. It hooks to the footboard. Here, this is the FBB shortboard with one Cat5 cable, which is a regular computer network cable. So it's also very easy or very, very cheap to replace if it breaks. And so you pull one cord in and you're done. That's really cool. Also from Line 6 is my wireless system here. I love playing wireless, especially like on a big stage. I love running around, and I hate being on a leash. So I play wireless. They're very sturdy, have a wide range, so even when I'm all the way over there, I don't have any dropouts. It's really cool. My strings are Elixir strings. So for those who don't know them yet, Elixir have a very, very thin coating on them, which keeps the dirt and the sweat and dust out of the gap between the string windings, because that's what makes the strings sound dull after a while. So that coating keeps them up, and so they sound brilliant for a much longer time. And they're a little bit more expensive, but the fact that they sound fresh for much longer, that totally makes up for them. And I see you're a bass player and you didn't get a cap, so you got a set of those brand new stainless steel Elixir strings, which is a $50 set. So check them out. I'm sure do you play 5-string?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Because otherwise I would have said you should go here and buy one now. And the last thing that I would like to emphasize, a company that I really like a lot, is Gator cases. So these here, they're really light and very sturdy. I've been on several tours where I have my gear protected by Gator, and they held up to every beating on the road. And just one question here real quick. Who can tell me where the company Gator is located, in which state? Gator? What's that? Florida? That's correct. So watch out. When you go to Florida, you're going to have some gators coming at you.
Oh.
All right. So all those brands are available here at Guitar Center. Please make sure you check them out here, and please support store manager Alone and his awesome staff with your business. All right, let's get back to playing, Dallas. What's next?
Right. We've got 2 more compositions for you tonight. They're both from Martin's CD, Bass Invader, which is available. You can get one over there if you like. You can purchase one from Martin if you feel like it tonight. And this CD features the great Gregg Bissonette on drums. He's one of my favorites. And this first tune is an original composed by Martin that we're going to do, called Arizona Sunset. Drumming-wise, once again, I'm keeping it consistent and solid while staying true to the spirit of the great Gregg Bissonette drum track. And I'm trying to keep a nice and relaxed, swinging feel to it. Now, Martin, how did you come up with this idea for this song?
Well, I was still living in Germany when I wrote this song, and one year I was on vacation here in the States, and I was actually in Tucson, Arizona, and I took a road trip driving out to San Diego, and on the way I saw the most intense sunset. It was beautiful. We don't have that in Germany. And I wanted to catch that feeling of driving through the desert and that peaceful view of watching the sun go down and put it in a song. So that's basically the story. And in this song, the bass is not only playing a supporting role, but it's actually the lead instrument. And I love the use of harmonics. I'm a big fan of playing harmonics, and so I play pretty much the whole melody with that. And the majority of the song I play hammered or tapped harmonics, which is so you put your finger here and then you tap the string here on just right above the fret, and then when you move your left hand, you move your right hand accordingly. So those are hammered or tapped harmonics, and then in the breakdown part, I wanted a little bit more of a softer tone. I play pinch harmonics, which is you put your thumb here, and then you do the same thing. So those are pinch harmonics. I love that stuff. Makes it really interesting. And because my bass has a very low action, the open strings have a tendency to vibrate when I play the song, so that's why I put this damper on, which is pretty much just a wristband on a cable tie, but I haven't come up with a better solution yet. Well, this works. So even though it's rather unconventional to play, to have the bass play the lead instrument, it still again shows the importance of a locked-in rhythm section, and in this song in particular, how the drums build the foundation for the bass to play off of it. That's what this song is about. All right, want to do it? Let's do it. you.
Thank you. Well, that was fun. Well, my take on it, once again, was I'm trying to make it flow without muscling it. And playing it relaxed and swinging. Martin?
Gregg Bissonette, I hired him to play the drummer. I love playing with great drummers. This is why I enjoy playing with Dallas so much. And now here's a question for you. In 1985, Gregg Bissonette was asked to join the band around David Lee Roth after David left Van Halen. And he pretty much built a supergroup around him with Gregg on drums and Steve Vai was the guitar player. And now, who was the bass player in that band? Billy Sheehan, that's correct. So he's my major influence. Actually, he's my biggest hero. And Billy actually, he always put wristbands, because I had wristbands here. So he would always put wristbands on his hands, and he push him up here to his elbows. If you remember his videos, that's what he used to do. So it's pretty cool. So correct answer, and here is a pair of Gallien-Krueger wristbands for you, or one each. All right. Now, there's one thing that I would like to say. I'm actually currently in the process of writing an instructional book based on my CD. And it will feature transcriptions of all the songs, and it will explain the different techniques. Each song pretty much has its own different techniques. So this one had a lot of harmonics and a lot of tapping and stuff, so it's definitely advanced. But it's a lot of fun, and so I'm gonna working on this book here right now, and it'll also come with a CD that's going to have playback tracks in there. You can actually play along with them. And the book is still in the works, but I have the transcription of the last song we played, Arizona Sunset, ready, and I have it with me actually as a preview here as handouts. So you, when we're done here, you can just head over and grab one and have fun with it. And on the bottom, it also got a link to an MP3 that you can download, so you can download the playback and just play around with it, and if I could get your feedback, that'd be even better. All right, so the handout actually also has a description for the last song we're going to play tonight, which is a fantastic song, and I'm sure many of you know it, so let's get to it.
Cool. Well, this next song, it's our last composition of the evening, is YYZ by the progressive rock band Rush from Canada. And I'm keeping the groove consistent while having fun playing lots of triplet fills interwoven with double bass grooves. Now, the way that I arrived at this was I listened to the Gregg Bissonette track, which is on Martin's record, and I also then listened to the Neil Peart track on the original record by Rush. And I kind of arrived at a hybrid of the two. Now, Martin, I was always wondering, why did you choose this cover song for your Bass Invader record?
Well, simple answer would be I needed an extra song for my CD. But I'm a big fan of Rush, and so I thought recording one of their songs would be a lot of fun, and actually turned out it was. But I didn't just want to duplicate the version, I wanted to put my own fingerprints on them. So, and during the time when I was in the middle of recording the CD, I met Swedish guitar player Mattias Eklund, who is actually signed with Steve Vai's record label Favorite Nations, fantastic guitar player. And Mattias was giving a demo at the Frankfurt Musikmesse, which is like the German version of the NAMM show. And I watched him, I was very intrigued by his playing and his sound, because Mattias has a very unique way of creating some high-pitched harmonics with his left hand, the way barred, sounds totally freaky. Everybody thinks he does it with some kind of an effects pedal, but it's really just his hands and the guitar and an amp, that's it. It's really cool. So I watched him and I listened and I thought, that sound would sound great on YYZ. So I approached him and asked me if he would like to play on that song, and he said sure, and that was really good. So I sent him the track and he sent it back, and then when I got it, I was really happy because it turned out actually better than I thought it would be. So it's really, really cool. Now, when you look at the original version of the song, Geddy Lee and Neil Peart from Rush are a fantastic rhythm section. They are both very musical, very talented players that listen a lot to each other. And this actually summarizes kind of like this tonight's clinic. If you're a bass player or a drummer in a band, it's very important that you listen to each other. As you have probably noticed, the songs that we played tonight have gotten progressively more intricate and difficult to play as we went on. But however, the overall job of the rhythm section stayed the same in all of the songs. to build and maintain a solid foundation on which the other players in the band can build on. And to be a solid foundation, you have to be a team. All right. YYZ. Once again, thank you very much for coming here tonight. It was really, really cool, and hope to see you soon again here or on stage. All right, thank you very much.